D.O. Hughley speaks. Do ex-MAGA deserve forgiveness? So Q's going to weigh in, of course, but I'll jump in front of this. This is a conversation that Q and I have had before, not just with ourselves, but with lots of people. And I think that there's, regardless of how you feel about it, I've heard people articulate cogent explanations and theories and whatever about this issue going back since 2016. And D.O. Hugley is somebody that we look to for a lot of content because he gets a lot of content sent to him early. He shares it online. For those that don't know, he's very established in the sort of activist, do-gooder, progressive community. So I'll share a bit from TMZ and then we'll get to the video. The comedian, this is from TMZ. The comedian joined TMZ Tuesday on TMZ Live, saying the only reason some folks turn anti-Trump is because he caused something bad to happen to them or someone else, not because bad things have been happening to others all along during his 2 times in office, which in his book makes these former Trumpers selfish. All right, so let's hear what he has to say.
I understand that you're hardline and you say, look, if you supported him, I'm done with you. But if they genuinely have a change of heart, right? And why wouldn't you want to have more people on your side of the aisle?
I think the one thing that's consistent with people that have changed their mind is there was an inherent selfishness they responded to. When something happened to them or somebody that looked like them or somebody they loved, then they responded. Had it been happening to anybody else, they wouldn't have cared. So if your motivation is that, you have seen it damage people that you love, that's selfishness. And you voted in a very selfish way.
So you're saying there's no room in politics, there's no room for forgiveness.
What I've learned from Republicans is you draw your circles tight and keep it that way. The entire administration now is based on not proficiency, not professionalism, but loyalty. Loyalty.
But to your point, that's Trump, right? And let's say he can't run again. So now you're just talking about whether someone is going to espouse the Republican platform or the Democrat platform, right?
I don't think it's as simple as I was misled. I think you wanted to believe a thing. I think that you didn't care who it hurt as long as it wasn't you. And if it were brown and black people, all the more better for it. You know what's interesting? 2 weeks ago when I was on, 3 weeks ago I was on, you and I and Charles were talking about how Bill Maher was saying, the tariffs didn't hurt anybody and I drive down my street. 3 days later, the jobs report came out. And it talked about the people it hurt. Mm-hmm. When he goes to D.C. and he takes over the city under the pretext that it is lawless, who does he use? He's attacking cities with black mayors. You helped do that. He's rounding up brown people. You helped do that. Why would I trust you again? If you can't see the obvious danger to yourself or to the people looking around you, then you're ignorant, and why would I need to be around? I don't have to change your mind. Like Chuck D said something that I'll never forget. He said, if I can't change the people around me, I got to change the people around me.
But let's go back 20, 30 years, right? I mean, there was a time where people changed their mind, right? There was a time when people could say, I thought this, but now I see things differently, and they would go back and forth.
These people had 3 bites of the apple. 3 times. They saw him win an election. They saw what happened then. They saw him try to overthrow the government, and they still did it the 3rd time. Come on now. 3rd time's a charm. We're not talking about people. All those people, a great deal of those people made this mistake 3 times. Who the hell makes a mistake 3 times? When 3 times is on purpose.
Okay. So, D.O. Hugley obviously feeling very strongly about what forgiveness should look like. And again, these are conversations that Q and I have had. Q, you want to go first or should I?
Let me.
Go ahead.
So there's an interesting thing that happened to me. And as Ramses knows, I was going to say famously knows because he hears these conversations all the time. Since Trump started running for office the first time, I've gotten a bunch of surprise DMs from people that I know and care about in support of him. And it's always been very confusing and very gaslighting and very hurtful for very, very obvious reasons. If you're listening to us or if you know me, then you know why. And it's not just because of me, but the empathy that I have for people who don't look like me, whose lives I knew would be more difficult because of this administration, because of this president. And those DMs very recently have, in some cases, had a different tone to them. And in one case that stands out to me, the person revealed that they didn't really have a change of heart. They just didn't like becoming the victim of the things they voted for. Like D.L. Hughley said, it had an adverse and negative effect on their life directly. So then they're all of a sudden not in support of Trump anymore. But then, because they're embarrassed by the decision that they made, they then explain to you the reasons why they made it, positions that they still hold. And those positions are still very much aligned with the MAGA movement. You know, right as this person was explaining that they were misled and flatly that I'm now upset because I became a target, this Hispanic person that became a target, somebody in their families, because Hispanic people had always been a target. So it had to hit that close to home that this person had a change of heart. Went on to explain to me that they still felt the same way about the LGBTQ community, that they still felt the same way about quote unquote open borders, that they still felt the same way about everything. Like DL pointed out, the only thing that changed, Ramses, is that it had an adverse negative effect on their life personally. As long as it was just everybody else, they were fine. And as he noted, that is a very, very hard person to welcome back into the fold.
Yeah. So well said. And, you know, DL, obviously well said. I am going to adopt my famous position that I always do, which is, I don't think it's the opposite position, but it's a position that automatically has maybe a little bit of grace built into it. So I'll say this. I'm confident, I don't know anyone personally, but I'm confident that there have been like bona fide white supremacist people who have been reformed, and they've spent a lot of time in a certain mindset, you know, years, decades. And when they realize their truth, they realize it. I've made certain mistakes more than 3 times in my life. And it's taken me a long time to realize stuff that people would think comes naturally. And to me, it just didn't occur to me. I'll be very honest. Once upon a time, I thought that if your friend and his girlfriend broke up and she liked me, as long as I tell my friend, hey, she likes me, is there anything you want me to do or not do with this situation? That if he said, no, go for it, that meant you could go for it. I had to do that a bunch of times to realize, oh, no, you can't. Don't even acknowledge that she likes you, because your friend will get hurt. And I'm thinking, oh, you know. So I've made that mistake many times. I could name others, but that just was at the tip of my tongue. For people that are on this human journey, you know, I'm one of those people on this human journey. I learn things every day. Sometimes they're long lessons that hurt a lot. Sometimes I learn them quickly. Sometimes they come naturally to me and I don't need to learn them. But I'm appreciative of all the grace that has been extended to me throughout my life. I do recognize you can't turn your cheek a bunch of times because you're going to run out of cheeks really quickly. But I think that I'm going to try to hold on to a little bit of space for ex-MAGA people. I'm going to wrestle with you a little bit from time to time, Q, too, because I know that a lot of people have hurt you. And that was not fair to you. And I will love you through additional hurt, because I'm sure that's coming too. But as people find out that they were wrong, I think they need a soft place to land, so that they don't fortify the opposition, A, but B, so that we can remind them that their humanity is valid, and it's okay to be wrong sometimes. So, my thoughts.